The Director General of National Youth Service Corps assures core members of newly monthly allowance commencement. Amazon, Microsoft and Meta kick against new rule limiting global access to artificial intelligence chips. Federal government says over 53% of electricity customers in Nigeria are still unmetered. Plus, oil prices surge as OPEC supply drops. U.S. crude stocks decline. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. Let's bring you up to speed with business development. The Director General of National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Yusuf Ahmed, has assured corps members that the payment of their new monthly allowance of 77,000 naira will soon commence. Brigadier General Ahmed stated this when he received a 32-seater bus donated to the NYSC, expected to reduce transportation costs as part of welfare package for staff.
Part of my policy thrust, the first thing is on security and welfare of corps members. Yes, they have not yet started receiving their allowance, but I tell you here, all arrangement has already been concluded. Hopefully soon, very, very soon. I don't just want to mention because I believe we are almost there. You will see it, and corps members will laugh very soon.
The Director General also appreciated the donor for the kind gesture. Now, the federal government has disclosed that 53.85% of registered electricity customers across Nigeria remain unmetered. This was made known in the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission third quarter of 2024 report. According to the NAC, the country has a total of 13,339,635 registered electricity customers across the 12 discos, out of which 7,182,909 are yet to be metered. This represents 53.85% of electricity customers across the country. Now, the federal government says it is now working to address issues threatening the sustainability of the country's telecom sector to ensure the availability of connectivity for all Nigerians. The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, stated this after receiving an interim report on the sustainability of Nigeria's telecom sector from KPMG. The report is expected to make recommendations on the raging issue of tariff review being clamored by the telecom operators, who argued that the industry's sustainability faces a severe threat with the current tariff regime. Now, leading U.S. tech companies Amazon, Microsoft and Meta have urged President Joe Biden to reconsider plans for a new regulation on global AI chip exports. The companies under the aegis of the Information Technology Industry Council voiced concerns over the last-minute rule of the administration, warning that the move could undermine U.S. leadership in artificial intelligence. The rule, expected as early as Friday, is part of efforts to curb the use of advanced AI technologies by adversaries, particularly China, by imposing sweeping restrictions and sale of AI chips overseas. Now, Nigeria has won 200,000 Swiss franc, about 34.1 million naira research chair from the World Trade Organization, the first of its kind in 30 years. The chair, Egbuna, director at the Professor Ngozi Egbuna International Center for Regional Integration, is expected to facilitate informal cross-border trade and access to regional and global value chains. This is in addition to enhanced understanding of WTO and AFCFTA trade facilitation through research and capacity building.
And Nigeria is lucky to be among all the WTO members that applied and got it.
We're partnering to support the ministry and to support our trade office in Geneva to speak for private sector, marrying town and gown, and making sure that Nigeria's implementation at WTO and AFCFTA are fit for purpose for the Nigerian economy. It's a great way to start the year.
Part of the program will be to develop a curriculum in the area of international trade. And I want to assure you that Nnamdi Azikiwe University, with our curriculum committee and with our Senate and everything, will ensure that this curriculum comes to life and the master's program get established so that people will be trained further in the area of international trade.
WTO program also makes us a part of a global, network. So we can also reach out to other universities in the world, Asia, the rest of Africa, and even Europe. We know that this year we got it along with Togo, Dominican Republic, and one other country. So we are going to reach out to them too.
Well, Nigeria made history after Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka in Anambra State, won the prestigious World Trade Organization Chair Program. The award, valued at 200,000 Swiss francs, approximately 34.1 million naira, is in recognition of his commitment to advancing academic activities related to trade in developing and least developed countries. In our discussion today, we take a look at Nigeria and World Trade Organization Digital Trade Initiative. And we have, of course, Professor Ngozi Egbuna. You're welcome to Business Express. In fact, it's a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, well, to begin the conversation, well, what are the major challenges that Nigeria faces in developing digital trade, and how does the chair plan to address them within the AFCFTA framework?
Thank you so much for having me. Let me first of all start by correcting the impression that the World Trade Organization chair means that we are getting 200 million or 200,000 Swiss francs. It's 90,000 Swiss francs per annum for the next 4 years. Okay. And that's more than 200,000. Okay. Just saying, just putting it out there. Thank you for having me.
Take note of that.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And yes, the digital trade is new. It's novel, it's innovative, and it's the buzz everywhere, especially in Africa, with the AFTA. And AFTA is about to launch the digital trade protocol, and Nigeria is squarely on board on that. And if you go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Investment, Economic Planning, Central Bank of Nigeria, they are all working 24/7 on that. And we are glad that we got this chair position, because it also has included us in that framework. For that, we intend to, uphold digital trade, especially with respect to women, medium and small scale enterprises, and then small scale enterprises too. We want to make sure that we upscale Nigerian talent in the digital world. We want to make sure that, in fact, this week we are talking to some people that have designed some e-commerce platform, and they are coming into the university and into our center to make sure that we are on board with them, especially when it comes to exposing women, youth, to digital trade, e-commerce platforms, and digital trading. So that's how we want to, come in, especially when it comes to capacity building, because you know that human capital is the most expensive and most challenged sector. If you have the human capital, then every other thing will be given onto you. So that's where we want to come in. And because the chair program has 3 pillars, which is research, curriculum development, and outreach. We want to use each and every one of the pillars to promote this. Thank you.
Now, how will this policy, or policy-oriented research contribute to shaping Nigeria's policies on digital trade and compliance with AFCFTA?
Yeah, that's what I said, that right now AFCFTA is working towards the digital trade protocol. Most of the countries have acceded to that, and the protocol basically would mean that there are frameworks in place, regulatory frameworks, as well as policy frameworks in place. And so the Nigerian government, through Trade and Investment Ministry, is working assiduously to make sure that we are ready for the framework, especially when it comes to things like like getting the regulatory framework ready and making sure that not just that we are compliant with AFTA, but we are also compliant with the digital trade framework that is being designed by WTO. So we want to be globally ready for it, and that's what they are working on. There are so many units and sub-units working on them.
Okay. Now, could you elaborate on the role of public-private dialogues, academic, business roundtable, and other outreach activities in enhancing Nigeria's digital trade ecosystem?
Indeed. Thank you so much for that question, because one of the pillars, like I said, for this WTO chair program is that of making sure that we have an outreach. So under that pillar, what we as winners of this chair intend to do for Nigeria sector operators, make sure that they know exactly what AFTA and WTO especially is doing for Nigeria. This is 30 years of Nigeria acceding to and signing the treaty with WTO. But you ask the average person, the average policy person, the average academia about WTO, and they know we have signed on to it, but they don't know the nitty-gritty. So we want to make sure that we sensitize people. And so, given that pillar, what we intend to do this first year, and incidentally, this is the 30th anniversary, so we intend to also make sure that we have a big ceremony through an international conference sometime between October and November to make sure that we expose WTO to Nigeria, and then from March to that September, we intend to have capacity building programs, we intend to have outreach and sensitization programs, we intend to set up a podcast so that we explain to people what WTO is all about, and most especially that international conference will also bring in other chairs from other countries to come and expose what WTO is all about, and then tell us about the digital trade initiatives. We want to use that extensively so that at the end of this year and going forward within the 4-year program, everybody that is supposed to know about WTO will know about WTO, because we're also going to have curriculum designed for it, both short certificate courses, postgraduate diplomas, and master's program in international trade, which would have WTO as a sub-component. And we intend to use facilitators from WTO as well as local facilitators just to expose us to what WTO, World Trade Organization, is all about. So that's what we intend to do. And then, most especially, the digital trade initiative has to be very, very well couched under a regulatory framework that is workable, that is smart, that we make sure that that it takes us, because that initiative is bound to take the Nigerian economy on a different level. It's supposed to increase our GDP by between 15 and 17%, export trade by about 80 billion US dollars, and then to create about 10,000 or 10 million jobs. So it's huge, and that's where we want to come in. And luckily, we got the chair program this year for the first time. So we intend to make sure that all the arsenals are out to make sure that we gain from it massively.
How can the findings of this research be disseminated to policymakers and businesses to promote digital trade in Nigeria?
That's what I said. We intend to have, sensitization programs, seminars, workshops, especially to educate and inform policymakers about what the digital trade is all about the initiative, and even beyond that, broadly about WTO. So we intend to have seminars within the 4-year program, and I mentioned the international conference. That's a huge one. And then again, we intend to have trade fair within this year. We have a trade fair organized between us, maybe and other people and other companies, as well as private sector initiatives that are interested in being there in the global platform.
Okay, how can this particular initiative increase the volume of trade that we have right now in the country?
Well, through human capital development, making sure that people who are in trade, especially the exporters and importers, are very well educated and schooled as to how to carry out business etiquettes, business language. If you are going to a country to import or export something, you make sure that you are aware of the standards. And standardization is very, very key, because sometimes you discover that Nigerians will export goods all the way to Europe, and it gets there and gets rejected. And then only the exporter bears the brunt. And that is because they do not even know some of the standards. So we also intend to put that in our curriculum, so that those of them who are into export trade will know that there are standards that you need to follow, international standards that you need to follow. And most of the time, they don't even know that they are supposed to have certification. So we need to also involve them in that, and involve Standard Organization, Nigeria Export Promotion Council in our capacity building program and in our research. And most especially in the outcome of the research, we intend to look at some of the gaps and fill in that gaps for our institutions, both in Nigeria and in Africa.
Okay, the issue of PABs, the payment system, how soon can we have, how soon can Africans get to have access to that?
Oh, they're already having access to that.
Okay.
Remember, I worked with the central bank for 35 years before I retired in 2021, after 35 years meritoriously. And the last 7 years of my career, I spent it as a staff that was seconded to West African Monetary Institute as the Director General of that institute. And while I was there, that was when the PAPS initiative was conceived, and that was when WAMI countries, that's the English-speaking West African countries, became the pilot countries for the PAPS scheme. And since then, so many banks have keyed into it. Trading is going on. UBA, Zenith Bank, GTB, and one other bank, they are all involved, and trading is going on as I speak, which means that you can comfortably sit down in Nigeria, quote and trade in Naira, and then somebody from Gambia, from Togo, from Cote d'Ivoire, from Senegal can, and even as far as Zambia, can buy your goods, settle you in Naira, and get and the buyer will also be sending out maybe Gambian Dalasi or Ghana Cedi, spending Ghana Cedi, but you in Nigeria getting Naira. That's the essence of PAP, to quote and trade in your local currency and be settled in your local currency. That's the essence of PAP, and it's been going on. It's gathering momentum, but people who are in that space use it already, and they know that it's on. So, okay. But then the countries are increasing.
Okay, with this, your wealth of experience, how would this somehow contribute to the success of this particular chair?
Well, it's my hope that we'll expand the scope of knowledge in this fair, especially when it comes to trading. Trading is important, and Nigeria's economic reform, the present economic reform, is hinged on diversifying the Nigerian economy. And you can't diversify the economy within yourselves. You have to trade outside your economy, both for import, but they are driving more towards export. And so that's what we are hoping to do, especially given that WTO is a global body that will give us that exposure. And I'm hoping that my experience and expertise will be fully used, especially in research and capacity building, to move this country to the next level. Luckily for us, the Minister of Trade was very, very excited to welcome us on Monday when we went to her office, and she has linked us up with her staff, and we have 24 hours unfettered access to her. So we intend to work closely with Ministry of Trade and Investment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Professor Ngozi Egbuna, and once again, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Moving on, gold prices edged higher Wednesday due to the risk stemming from the tariff plans proposed by President-elect Donald Trump, with investors waiting for U.S. economic data for guidance on the U.S. Federal Reserve's interest rate stance in 2025. Let's now see how other commodities are trading. And now let's head to global stocks market, where European markets trade higher despite disappointing German industrial data, and Shell shares slide 1.5%. Let's now join Maria Adu-Zakari, who is standing by to give us, to bring us up to speed with the latest figures from the global stocks market. Maria, it's over to you now.
In the international scene, markets are trading downward this afternoon. European markets were trading lower. Latest data showing an unexpected fall in German industrial orders last November. The figures show that the DAX was down by 0.02%. We have FTSE, which dipped 0.25%, and the CAC topped losses at 0.71%. Asia markets traded mixed. Shares of South Korean tech giant Samsung Electronics rose 3.43% in choppy trading, shrugging off a worse-than-expected profit forecast for the fourth quarter. The Nikkei was lower at 0.26%. We have Shanghai Composite, which was up 0.02%, and Hang Seng Index losses at 0.86%. U.S. stock futures are under pressure. This action follows a sharp decline in big tech stocks and renewed fears over the path of rate cuts prompted a sell-off on Wall Street. The Dow is down by 0.42%. We have S&P 500 at 1.11%, and the Nasdaq Composite nominated drops at 1.89%. Africa markets bearish too this afternoon. We have South Africa JSE Top 40, which was lower at 0.98% right there. We have Tunisia Tune Index at 0.13%. Namibia All Share Index took the biggest hit at 2.72%, and we have Ghana, which was marginal. That's for global market today. I am Maria Adu-Zakari. It's back to Musa now.
Well, thank you, Maria. Well, this is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTS channel. Business Express returns on Thursday at 3 p.m. I was Abubakar. Enjoy the rest of your day.